Welcome in, locked in. It's the halftime show you all know and love. Steve Bonham, Vishaal Gupta, Mason Cameron. How you guys doing tonight?
Absolutely
Splendid.
terrific.
Better than the Jets?
A little
Gotta
bit.
be, right? Low bar. Low bar.
It's always a good time when you get to watch Josh Johnson play football.
Said no one. But you know what? I will say I started Mike White in Scott Fishbowl tonight and
Ooh.
still got me 10 points. That's
pretty
more
good.
that's more than I got from Kyler Murray last week. So I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. We are going to start doing from this point forward our accountability standings.
Oh,
and
no.
Mason appreciates this. Me and Vishaal do not.
Please don't kill the people.
So here are our current season standings as of right now. Overall, Mason just dominating us. What's it like to be so good and so talented, Mason? Could you clue us in on that? Because we have no idea.
You know, some people are just born to do this. Others, they got to learn, study real hard.
So just to clarify the chart there for the viewers at home. So we have our records in the props, which is the individual player bets that we make, and then the tickets, which is the overall 3-person parlays. So to go 4-3 for Mason in tickets is extremely impressive. And then bad beats on the side there. I consider it a bad beat if a player is on pace to actually hit that total or whatever number we're looking for and then gets hurt, or if you miss within about 5 yards, give or take. So that would mean our locks for the season to this point, 12-12. So we're 50%. However, if it were not for the bad beats, we very well could be 17-7 right now. So again, I'm a little discouraged when you look at the numbers like that, but when you consider the bad beats and how many situations we've had, like Robert Woods not getting 4.5 rushing yards, or I had 1 week Jalen Hurts with under 292 and he got to 293. I mean, it's just random things like that. I will take it. I'm okay with it. But let's get on the winning track here, Vishaal. Specifically, you and me. We gotta turn this around.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
So that's
never bad picks. It's just bad results. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all.
All right, Vishaal, what do you got for this week?
All right. I'm going to start with Cordell Patterson over 70.5 total yards. I think a lot of people would agree that Patterson has been one of the biggest surprises in the league this year, fantasy-wise and just regular football-wise.
Well, not the nerd. The nerd would say, I told you so. But
he's on an island by himself on most things, including this one. It's just crazy how efficient he's been on limited touches. Like, as good as he's been, Atlanta is still not really making him their workhorse back. And even with the limited touches, he's been incredible. He's gone over this number in 4 out of 7 games, and now we know Calvin Ridley is going to miss some time. It's unclear how much, but he's definitely not playing this week. So it just means a lot more opportunities for Patterson, especially in the passing game. So if I'm getting over 70.5 on the total yards, I'm definitely going to take the over. And then I'm going to go over 59.5 receiving yards for Adam Thielen. He's going up against a Baltimore secondary that's giving up a league high 296 pass yards per game. So they have a lot of big name guys in their secondary, but they're just not playing well right now, and they're giving up a ton of yards. Baltimore is favored by 6 points in this game, so there's a good chance Minnesota's going to be playing from behind. That could mean a lot of garbage time potential for Thielen to hit this over pretty easily. And then finally, I'm going to take under 253.5 passing yards for Daniel Jones. He's burned me already a couple times this year, but I like it. I like him this week. He's only gone over this number 3 times this year, and he's going up against a Raiders defense that's giving up less than 230 passing yards per game. This number seems insanely inflated. He's going to be missing a couple pieces, including Sterling Shepard, and who knows if Kenny Golladay is playing or Kadarius Toney is playing. He's going to have a pretty weak skill group around him possibly this week, so I'm going to take the under.
All right, Mason, what do you got?
All right, so for starters, we're looking at the under 335.5 total yards for Josh Allen. So I'm gonna be straight with you. Josh Allen is perfectly capable of hitting this line by his arm alone. He's
Mhm.
done it twice already this season, and he's hit this line as a total in 3 different contests. All but one were decently close games. This one,
Right.
though, is just not going to be close.
Yeah, this was my same logic last week with the Dolphins game, where he could very easily put up 400 total yards against a bad D, but do you really think Jacksonville keeps it competitive?
Right. It's realistically, do you think he can do it in 2.5 quarters? And the
Right.
answer is probably not.
Mhm.
This Jacksonville team just doesn't have a whole lot of hope. They
Mhm.
couldn't even manage to keep up with Geno Smith-led Seahawks team, and now they're expecting to do that with the Bills. I don't see it. This one's going to be over at half. We'll keep that short and sweet.
Over
On to
under
the
one
next
and a
one.
half quarters played for Mitch Trubisky this week. I might take the over.
That is, that's a better, question for sure than this one. I like it too, V. I agree. Secondly, I'm gonna piggyback off V here. He took Thielen, and I am also in on this, and I'm taking Justin Jefferson too. Kirk and his vice have been clicking. Jefferson's on pace for over 1,300 yards in this season. He's hit this line 4 times already this season, and this week they have Baltimore. Like we already talked about, Baltimore just hasn't been that good. They're a blitz-heavy team, and they keep leaving their coverage, kind of hanging out to dry. They've got some good names, but coverage is historically pretty volatile year to year. So even though they succeeded with that last year, it's coming back to bite them. It's not working out, and they're leaving their corners out to dry, and it's really killing them. Chase took them for over 200 last week, or excuse me, last game, and I think that is LSU running mate Justin Jefferson does the same damn thing. So makes it easy enough. And then, all right. So last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and take Zeke over 93.5 total yards against my Denver Broncos. I make this pick with a heavy heart, but I go where the money takes us. The Pollard breakout has, to a degree, kind of overshadowed Zeke this season, but it's still Zeke's backfield. He still gets a lion's shares of the workload. He currently has 54 more touches than Pollard. So even though Pollard gets quite a bit of touches every game, he's easily outpaced by Zeke. Zeke has averaged 99.8 total yards per game this season. He's hit this line in all but 2 games. And he's rushed for this line alone in 3. So it's a really manageable line, especially combined in total yards. Like I said, they play my Broncos this week. Denver started off as one of the best units in the league on defense. 8 weeks in, and we're looking at a completely different story now. Most glaringly, there's no more Von Miller in Denver, and I officially have no more Broncos jerseys of players on the team, which is a very sad day for me. That's obviously a hit to morale for the team, but on top of that, the guy was the team's best run defender with a PFF run defense grade of 83. Nobody is higher than 77 on the team. That's a big deal. The linebacking core right now is sub 50 defense grades, and they have trouble stopping the run. Before this trade even happened, they had trouble holding down backs in recent weeks, allowing 4.8 yards per carry over the last 3 games. That's the bottom third of the league in the last 3 games. That's just not a good look. They've been juggling around their linebacker core, and they just haven't proven to be up to the challenge. Dearness Johnson, a former AAF running back, ran for a $160 2 weeks ago. I mean, lock it up. This one's easy, and I say that with a tear in my eye.
Yeah, and I think the combo you guys have with the Vikings is extremely interesting. The secondary, like you mentioned, for the Ravens has been completely bipolar because they have 3 games this year when a wide receiver duo has hit the numbers that are on the board. There's been 1 wide receiver to go over the 80 and the secondary wide receiver to go over the 60 that Adam Thielen has. And then they've had 4 games when no wide receiver even got to the 60. So it's been all or nothing against that secondary. It's very bizarre how that's worked out for them this season. Yeah. But I agree. Like if any duo is going to do it, it feels like it would be this one, right? I feel like that's a pretty
For sure.
good play.
Right. They've been clicking, and they really know how to attack defenses. You, Kirk has done extremely well playing with fast and playing within
Yeah.
rhythm, throwing the ball within rhythm and getting it to where it needs to go. And that's why I think that this is a big deal, because this Ravens defense really likes to pressure the quarterback, send these blitzes. We all kind of know that. And at times, that's why they have that volatile nature, because coverage in itself is hard to peg week to week, year to year, anything.
Mhm.
It's a really volatile statistic. So definitely think there's big chance for them to do it. But like you said, it's totally a bipolar pick for sure.
Yeah. All right. Here's what I got this week. I've got Jordan Love going under 245.5. Again, the whole story yesterday about Aaron Rodgers and him potentially missing this week and next week. 245.5 is just like a middle of the road average QB number they've given Jordan Love, because we really have no kind of information. And KC's defense is trash. So there's 100% chance he could hit this number and very easily put up a big game. But I will continue to say it until I'm proven wrong. I believe that they have found a formula that works, and it's running the football. I think they are just going to try to run them to death, and that both running backs for Green Bay have big weeks, and Jordan Love ends up throwing for under 200 yards is how confident I am in that. So we'll see what happens here, but I feel pretty good that he'll be under the 245. I've got Devante Parker over 58.5 receiving yards. First 4 games of this season, Parker went 4 for 81, 5 for 42, 4 for 42, and then 4 for 77. So he went over this number twice, got close to it another 2 times. He missed their next 4 games with an injury, but he returned last week, and he was greeted with 11 targets, caught 8 of them for 85 yards, and he did it against a very good Buffalo secondary. Enter Houston, who allows the 9th most receiving yards to wide receivers. I think Devante Parker should be approaching the century mark this weekend. And then we've got Myles Gaskin in the exact same game for essentially the exact same reason, going over 65.5 total rushing and receiving yards. In the games this season that Myles Gaskin has played more snaps than Malcolm Brown, he's averaging 44.5 rush yards and 26.7 receiving yards. So that's 71.2 total yards. This number is 65.5. Malcolm Brown is on IR. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Myles Gaskin will play more snaps than Malcolm Brown this week. So I feel like my numbers are okay. In those same games, Gaskin has gone over this total 4 out of 6 times. Last week was one of the 2 times he missed it, and he got to 55 total yards. So he just missed it. We, again, are now talking about Houston's defense allowing 155 total yards per game to running backs. That is the 5th worst total in the NFL. I have Myles Gaskin ranked as a top 15 running back this week. So, I mean, again, I think he'll be able to hit this over. He has burned me many times this year, and I will never learn my lesson on Myles Gaskin. That's fine. That's quite all right. It is what it is.
I've dropped him twice in the same league already.
Also, why don't you just tell the people of Green Bay that you just don't like them? Why don't you
It has nothing to do with the Cleedeye of Green Bay, okay? This is all about Jordan Love, and I don't buy it, and I believe that they are going to run the ball so much.
First it was Aaron Jones, now it's Jordan Love.
I've turned it around on Aaron Jones. Everybody knows that. I love me some A.J. Dillon, too. That's my thing here, is I think both of them could approach 100 yards this week in all-purpose yards. And, again, I am not going to be shocked one bit if Jordan Love wins that game for Green Bay, because Kansas City is just that bad this season.
That's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I will definitely take them to cover, but I would not be surprised if they win. All right, what do we got, guys? Here's our board. Vishaal, you're up first.
Ooh, this one's a bit tough this week. I kind of like all of them, but let's see. I think let's just go with Thielen over. We talked about it quite a bit about this matchup and why we like the receivers in this game. So let's take Thielen over 59.5 receiving yards.
All right, Mason.
And just to spread it around just a little bit, so we're not throwing Justin Jefferson in there too.
I was waiting for it. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and take Zeke, because I'm in a dark place with my Broncos.
That's quite a reason to try to take Zeke there. Okay, I am going to take the over on. It's one of the Dolphins. I'm going to go with Myles Gaskin. So I've picked wrong. Gaskin will now certainly go under on this. But there you go. There you go. So we got it set. So we've got 3 uncorrelated overs. What could possibly go wrong in those locks? But there you go. So those are our locks and our picks for the week. I specifically will not be back next week. Jack will be here in my seat, filling in for me. He'll be my proxy. So there you go. Be on the lookout for that. He'll still have my picks. Just he'll be my mouthpiece, if you will. So be prepared for that. Just mentally. Just prepare yourself.
Can't let Jack get too much of a leash.
Exactly. And we've got a 12-12 record right now in the locks. We got to get at least 2 of these that stay above 500. I'm at least asking to do that. We'll get there. We'll get there. Got to look better on those standings. But thank you, boys, for another exciting week. Thank you, everybody out there, for watching, and we'll be back next week.